We've been speaking for the last 3 years about Patrick Cummins. He's now the captain. I wanted to show you some numbers and then have a discussion about where you gentlemen think he fits in the all-time list of Australian bowlers. So Paddy's at the bottom. He is not 11th on that list. This is what he's done. So McGrath, a standout, 563 wickets. Look at that average, 21.64. The great Dennis Lilly. Mitchell Johnson at 28. Brett Lee at 30 with 310 wickets. Keep an eye on the strike rate column as well. Then you've got the greats. Starks in there, Gillespie, McKenzie, Lindwall, Peter Siddle. So they're the top 10 wicket takers for Australia. Quick bowlers in Test cricket. Paddy Cummins at the moment, 37, averaging 21.32, which is less than McGrath, and a strike rate well and truly in front of everyone, even his great mate Mitchell Stark. Start with you.
Yeah, look,
where does he fit? Where does he sit?
I don't think you can really judge till the end of their career, but as what we've seen so far, he will go down as one of the all-time greats. It's very tough for me to sit here when I've watched McGrath, what he did over a long period of time, and then Dennis Lilly growing up and watching Dennis Lilly's record, five wickets a test. I mean, there's not too many bowlers that do that. So Lilly, McGrath, they're the two standouts for me, but Pat Cummins will definitely go down as one of the all-time greats if he continues to do this over a long period of time. For the next 5 or 6 years of his career, if he does this, then he'll be up there with that Lilly and McGrath.
Michael, you're an opening batsman. Do you want to face Lilly? Do you want to face McGrath?
No.
Or do you want to face Cummins?
Neither.
Well, you've got to face one of them.
What about Scott Boland?
Well, and Scotty Boland as well.
Where's he on the list? Without any question, Pat Cummins will be talked about as a great of the game. You know, he already is with those numbers. But in, 8 years' time, when he probably hangs up his bowling boots, I think those numbers will probably... I don't see him getting any worse. I think he's only going to get better from this. Will the captaincy affect him? It hasn't so far. I know it's early stages, but he'll be talked. I don't think you can ever say who's best. I think it's almost impossible. But when you're getting talked about, like, of Glenn McGrath, Dennis Lilly already, and he's quite early into his Test match career, he's going to be a special player. But don't rule out Scott Boland getting on that list.
We will get to Scotty Boland and his wickets. Paddy will be tested when he has to tour the subcontinent. A lot of it coming up for Australia. Now, Australia is slated, and we spoke about this yesterday, to tour Pakistan directly after this. As I said, I think cricket-wise, with Usman being there and cricket going back to Pakistan, it could be one of the most magical tours Australia's been on for a long, long time. But it'd be fair to say in the last 10 years, both Australia and England, their record of touring the less high-profile nations hasn't been great. How important are these tours for cricket and Australian cricket?
Oh, extremely important, Howie. When you need the Australians, the New Zealands, the India, the Englands, all these teams to go to Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and those sort of places just to promote the game. There's the excitement, then the money comes in for the revenue of TV rights. So it's really important that the teams can do that. And somewhere like Pakistan, there's some players in Pakistan team that have never played a test match at home. And they've played 40, 50 tests, never played one at home. So could you imagine what that means to just that person, but their family, the crowd and everything. So that'll be, let's keep our fingers crossed, security and everything is okay. That goes ahead. And we see some great cricket. Security
is obviously a great issue, but talking to Shane Watson, who played over there in the PSL, he said the security was unbelievable. They were incredibly well looked after. If the security's ticked off, do we need to be better, Michael, touring the other nations that aren't necessarily the big 3 or 4?
Yeah, I mean, if security is ticked off, they have to go. It's so important for the world game. Pakistan is a country that adores cricket. Not just T20 cricket, but Test match cricket. They absolutely adore it. So I think Australia have got to do everything in their powers to make sure that the players go. I think it'd be great for the game of cricket. England pulled out of a Pakistan trip in the new year. I think they were going for a week to play 3 T20s. It was pulled about 4 or 5 days before they were meant to go. It's just not a great look for the game. And you're absolutely right. The power 3, India, Australia and England, they've got all the cash.
Yeah.
And it's up to those 3 to make sure that they're looking after the countries that don't all have all the fortune, don't have all the big TV deals. So in any way, shape or form that Australia can get on that plane to go to Pakistan, if security is given the green light and the tick, they have to go there. It'd be great for the game.
There's a responsibility to the world game, for the ICC, Australia, India, England, to get to as many countries as you possibly can. There's a ICC Test Match Championship now too. It's really that responsibility. When you have that much responsibility, especially India, you've got to walk up and take it.
Talk about cult heroes. Let's have a look at some famous Australian cult heroes, starting with your man, Mervyn Gregory Hughes. He was the ultimate cult hero, wasn't he? Big Merv, getting it done.
And he's got it.
Look at the great man, on your bike, champ.
They used to look at him at MCG, idolised.
And when he first started that, Howie, he didn't realise the crowd. He was copying him. And then in the end, when he suddenly turned around and said, what's all this fast turnaround? They all following him. They stop, and then he'd turn around, they'd do it again. So then he started. Every time he'd go down, he'd start the warm-ups, and he loved it.
Cult hero number 2, DC Boone, the moustache, the 5'2" Tasmanian with the flared pants. Everybody loved him because he used to make ads like this as well. He's a cult hero, Shane.
Oh, he is. Babs,
Have a look at the visuals. Vote 1, Booney for PM.
Nickname of Babs, Baboon.
So he's our number 2 cult hero. I've got a couple
Didn't
more
mind
for
a
you,
sip
though.
either.
No. A man that came out, was it here with the blue hair, Funky Miller at the SCG?
Federate, yeah, it was here.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Colin
here.
Miller, bowled medium, bowled quick. And
Watch, Courtney Walsh couldn't face up, Howie. Look at this, he was bursting out laughing. He couldn't concentrate. Look.
Courtney says something about who is this man with blue hair bowling to me. So he's cult hero number 3. And then another man I know you had a close association with early in your career, a test match in Sri Lanka as well, where you got rolling. Greg Matthews, cult hero. Interesting character and played with passion.
Didn't he ever? He was different, that's for sure. He, one of the pioneers of advanced air studios.
He was.
Oh, yes, one of the first man to do it. But just the way he played, 4 test match hundreds, plenty of wickets too. A different cat, but very, very good cricketer. That's what he
He's got
was.
the Simmons Super Tusker as well.
Yeah.
One of the great bats.
Greg was the first to put the squirrel on the head, was he?
First person, yep. He was the first person in the 80s to do it.
Yeah.
And a few of us have taken after Greg.
He's a pioneer. He set it up for you too.
Hey, thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Have you both got the same sort of situation, or how does it
mine's
work?
mine. Mine's mine. I think, Shane, what's yours?
Mine's all mine except just for the crown.
Whereabouts?
Okay.
Just the crown. Everywhere else is mine, see? Thank you very much.
Oh, it bites.
Jeez. It's better than bloody roadkill that's on yours. He's got roadkill on his.
He jumps up and down.
Yours is the real gear, though.
Yeah, it's real good. Just misplay, you kind of place it from round the back, put it back on the top.
Right. How am I going? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
I'm hanging around. Now, big news after South Africa got the test job done over there against India. India have brought Virat Kohli back into the side, and they've gone unusual at selection because normally it's a low-key announcement, but India, with Kohli coming back, have made a very high-profile announcement about Virat Kohli coming back into the team.
Okay.
This is the country where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
I don't care how many times we play that. Sachin, that's gold.
Can we see it again, please?
Yeah, we can roll it
Come on,
again.
Howie, give us another look. Come on, give us another
3,
look.
2, 1, give me a chance in the truck.
Where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
Remarkable scenes yesterday. Cameron Green bowling to Ben Stokes. I don't know how many times you've seen this. I still can't believe it. That's smashed into the stumps. Have a look at the replay here. Skull was telling me it was about the amount of mud around the moorings of the stumps, but the stump actually wobbles. Paul Rifle quite rightly gave him out because he didn't know what was going on. In the end, not out. And then the great Sachin Tendulkar put out a tweet directed your way, Shane.
Yeah, we saw this. It's I mean, that hit it as 142 kilometres an hour. This is what Sachin had to say. Should a law be introduced called hitting the stumps after the ball has hit them, but not dislodged the bails. What do you think, guys? Let's be fair to bowlers. Look, it's something to discuss, that's for sure. I went back to Sachin on Twitter and just said, look, it's something to discuss. I'll take it to the World Cricket Committee, which I sit on, but it's...
Are you going to?
Yeah, I'll take it because it's a discussion point.
Yeah.
But I think the bails should be dislodged. I think the bails have to be dislodged. I think it's otherwise, does it just skim it? It's going to take too much time out of the game. Do you review everything? Oh, hang on, that might have hit the stumps because you heard a noise. So, yeah, but it's definitely something to discuss.
I mean, who are we to kind of question Sachin Tendulkar? But I can guarantee if Sachin was still playing the game, I think he may want the bail to come off.
Well, what happens when the bails are dislodged but then relodged? What would you do this at the ICC if you saw this happen?
Oh!
What are you particularly doing in that situation?
That's not out.
Not out.
That's extraordinary fortune. That's more fortunate than the Stoker. Look at this. The bail just skips across and lands in the alternate groove.
Well, it's actually an interesting one because I think the laws of the game, and I stand to be corrected, that the bail must be removed from both grooves. Now, that bail actually got removed from both grooves, but sat on the stump. So,
do you think that's now out?
Well, yeah, maybe because maybe because it removed both grooves.
We need Laurie. Get Laurie with the laws.
Too hard basket, that one. That's what it is.